with that, I want to jump right into talking about data security on Slack. So it's no surprise that Slack adoption has grown substantially over the past 2 years. The pandemic, of course, has transformed when and how work is done across a wide variety of industries. But even before the pandemic, Slack was on track to becoming a core part of many employees' workspaces. So on the right here, you have an article from 2019 highlighting just how essential Slack had become by that point. So Slack reached 12 million daily active users in 2019. This was up 37% from the previous year. And even then, according to Slack, employees of paid employees, or sorry, paid users had employees spend an average of 9 or more hours per workday connected to Slack. So that is a substantial amount of time. And it's undoubtedly that the pandemic has transformed this trend. Although Slack hasn't provided many hard numbers in 2021, we do know that at the beginning of the pandemic, in the first 7 weeks alone, Slack had added about 7,000 customers. And so these changes highlight just how central the role collaboration tools like Slack play in the workplace. And with that should come a shift in how security risk should be viewed within these environments. So one of the important things to note is that systems like Slack are critically defined by two features. They're always on, people can access them at any time, and they're designed to support a high volume of users. This means that security violations, like the sharing of sensitive data, can happen at any time, potentially exposing high volumes of sensitive data to lots of users. This has become more likely post-COVID as teams have been more likely to hire remote workers across the world. And so with that, Brent, my first question to you is, I'm curious the degree to which the past year has altered your employees' usage of Slack. Have you seen data security risk increase because of changing work habits within your organization?
Certainly, the biggest impact is just the volume of communication that takes place over a tool like Slack, without any offices or any on-prem face-to-face. Virtually every conversation or discussion that needs to happen is taking place over Slack or something like Zoom, like this. That in itself. I don't have any stats from Slack, but I'm guessing they saw a massive increase in the volume of messages. And if you do the math on that, then that means there's going to be a massive increase in the volume of messages that might have data in them that you don't want posted into Slack, as it is, after all, someone else's computer and someone else's environment, right? So yeah, it absolutely creates the entire pandemic created a habitual use of Slack that is just absolutely going to mean rolling in more files uploaded. People say, hey, can you take a look at this file? No one can just lean over and say, hey, can you look at this on my computer? No. So if two developers are trying to work on something, they're going to put code snippets back and forth. That can be problematic. It could be just file exchanges. It could be any sort of discussion, obviously, but we don't have the protection of it just being face-to-face anymore. I always say that the words you say are also a potential data leak, right? With the things that we're talking, DLP could apply if there was a technology to put a filter on. But it's generally safe to have those kinds of conversations in the offices and show each other the screens and look back and forth. But without any of that, it means that people are putting all that stuff in Slack. And I think that because they're all at home, the feeling of separation between work and home is a little bit, it's a lot more blurry. And so I think that people tend to get more casual with their use of their work tools because they're at home. And it also exposes it, to people in your home as well. Rather than those conversations would never take place in your home, but now they are. So there's a massive increase in the risk associated with the pandemic, for sure.